The survivors march north out of Tenochtitlan. Rain soaks their armor, wounds burn, hunger tears at their stomachs. Many limp, some lean on comrades, others are carried on makeshift litters. Horses stumble and collapse in the mud. Fewer than 20 remain alive. Cortés rides at the front. "Keep moving. God is with us. Do not stop." His voice cuts through the storm, but all see the truth. Half their number is gone. The treasure lies at the bottom of the lake. The city they thought they had conquered now hunts them. Bernal Diaz calls out to the men beside him. "We walk like shadows. Every step is heavy, and death is never far." The Tlaxcalans mourn loudly for their dead. They cry for sons and fathers taken on the causeways, for wives and children lost in the city. Yet they do not leave. Even broken and bleeding, they stay with the Spaniards, knowing their fate is bound together. The road gives nothing. Villages stand deserted, doors broken, houses empty. Fields are stripped bare. The Mexica have cleared the land ahead, cutting off every grain of maize, leaving the survivors with only hunger. From the hills come sudden strikes. Scouts watch from above. Arrows and stones cut into the column. Stragglers scream as they are dragged away, their voices swallowed by the rain. Alvarado snarls at the rear. "They hunt us like wolves. With every mile, more of us fall." The road north is lined with bodies, and all know this march is only the beginning of their trial. The march does not stop. The Mexica hound them day and night. Scouts run along the hills, calling down warnings. Warbands strike the rear with arrows and stones, then vanish, only to return again. Each attack cuts down more men, and the column grows thinner. Some Spaniards throw away helmets and armor to move faster. Others stagger and beg to be left behind, wounds too deep to carry on. A few slip into the fields, hoping to escape alone, and are never seen again. The army is breaking piece by piece. Bernal Diaz shouts to those near him, "We are like prey surrounded by hunters. There is no rest, not in daylight, not in darkness." Through it all, the Tlaxcalans fight with desperate courage. They shield the Spaniards, closing ranks, spears forward, holding off attack after attack. They know their losses are terrible wives, sons, whole families gone in the retreat. Yet they stay loyal, refusing to abandon their allies. Cortés rides among them, sword raised. "Stand fast. Push forward and we live. Stop here and we die." His voice carries, but even he sees how many have fallen. Alvarado growls as he wipes blood from his cheek. "They bleed us with every mile. They want us weak before we reach the plains." The column keeps moving, step by step, leaving behind a trail of bodies. Ahead lies Otumba, and waiting there, the Mexica host in full strength. The survivors reach the plain of Otumba. The ground opens wide and flat, offering no shelter, no escape. And waiting there is the full Mexica army. Tens of thousands stand ready, stretching across the field. The Spaniards stop in silence. They are starving, wounded, and few. Armor hangs broken. Swords are dulled. Shields are gone. Fewer than 20 horses remain. They face an army that outnumbers them many times over. Bernal Diaz looks at the mass of warriors and says aloud, "We are no more than a handful against the sea." It is something that different. Cortés rides along the line, his horse spattered with mud. He raises his sword for all to see. "We have no choice but to fight. With courage, God will grant us victory." His voice steadies some, but despair still hangs heavy. The Tlaxcalans close ranks. They know they have already lost thousands. Their grief is fresh, but they tighten their shields and ready their spears. They will not abandon their allies now. Alvarado mutters through clenched teeth, "If we die here, then we die fighting." Across the field, the Mexica captains give the order. The lines begin to move. The plain of Otumba is about to erupt in battle. The Mexica charge across the plain. Waves of warriors rush forward, shields raised, spears and darts flying. The sound of their advance shakes the ground. The Tlaxcalans meet the first wave. Spears thrust, shields log, and men fall in heaps. They fight with fury, knowing their homes and families are already gone. Every step they give is paid for with blood. The Spaniards form tight ranks around their horses. Muskets fire, crossbows snap, and swords strike out in short bursts. But they are too few, and the enemy presses from every side. Bernal Diaz shouts above the din, "There is no end to them. We cut one line, and another takes its place." The horses charge, scattering men in their path. But the Mexica regroup quickly. They aim for the riders, grabbing at reins and legs, dragging horsemen down into the dust. Cortés rides hard into the melee, calling out, "Hold the line, push them back, do not give ground." His words drive some to rally, but everywhere the press of warriors grows heavier. Alvarado cuts down one attacker, his blade slick with blood, and spits. "They mean to crush us here and now." The plain becomes chaos, shouts, screams, and the clash of steel against obsidian. The Spaniards and Tlaxcalans fight for every breath, outnumbered and hemmed in on all sides. The battle rages. The Spaniards are pressed on every side. The Tlaxcalans hold firm, but their lines thin with every charge. The Mexica believe the invaders are about to break. Cortés sees the truth. They cannot outlast the enemy. Numbers will crush them. Only one strike might turn the tide. His eyes lock on the tall standard carried by the Mexica commander. He calls out to his captains, "There, at the banner, cut him down, and we break their spirit." Alvarado spits blood and growls. "Then we cut straight through." The horsemen gather around Cortés. Fewer than 20 remain, but they form for one last charge. Lances lowered, swords ready, they push into the mass of warriors. Bernal Diaz shouts as they ride, "If this fails, we are finished." The cavalry smash into the Mexica ranks. Men are hurled aside, shields splinter, and the charge drives deep into the heart of the enemy. Cortés rides at the front, striking left and right, forcing a path toward the standard. The Mexica fight to protect their commander, the man bearing the great standard of the Sunday. He is surrounded by captains, each sworn to die before letting him fall. They close ranks tightly, striking at the horses, hacking at legs with obsidian blades, and thrusting spears upward at the riders. The Spaniards push into them with all they have left. Steel clashes with obsidian, shields buckle, and men are thrown beneath trampling hooves. The fight narrows into a circle of fury around the standard. Cortés drives straight for the banner, his lance shattering on a shield. He draws his sword, shouting to his men, "At the standard, strike at the heart." Alvarado cuts down one defender, while Sandoval crashes through another line, forcing open the path. Arrows bite into their armor, spears glance off helmets, but still the riders press in. The Mexica commander swings his macuahuitl, its obsidian edges tearing into a horse's flank. The animal crashes to the ground, throwing its rider into the dust. The fight turns desperate. Blades rise and fall, horses scream, men grapple hand to hand in the press of bodies. And then, in the chaos, Cortés and his captains strike together. The commander is dragged down. The great standard slips from his hands. It hits the earth. For a heartbeat, the plain falls silent. Then panic spreads through the Mexica ranks. The great banner lies in the dirt. For a moment, the field freezes. Then a cry ripples through the Mexica lines. Their commander is down. The standard is lost. Confusion spreads. Captains shout orders, but the warriors falter. What had been a flood of attack turns into hesitation, then panic. Some throw their shields aside and run. Others fight on in scattered groups, but the heart of the army is broken. Cortés raises his sword high. Now, press them. Drive them from the field. The cavalry strike again, lances lowered, cutting through the Mexica who still stand. The Tlaxcalans surge forward, shouting with fierce relief. They cut down the warriors who turn to flee, avenging the thousands lost in Tenochtitlan. Bernal Diaz cries out over the chaos. God has saved us this day. Their courage is gone. The Mexica retreat in waves. Some hurl down their weapons and scatter across the plain. Others try to rally but are trampled in the press. The survivors flee toward the hills, leaving the plain of Otumba littered with bodies, broken shields, and the fallen standard. The Spaniards stagger in disbelief. Hours before, they had been certain of death. Now the enemy is gone, and they still stand. Alvarado leans on his sword, bloodied and exhausted. By all rights, we should be dead, yet here we are. The survivors gather in the center of the field. They are bruised, cut, starving, but alive. Against all odds, they have broken the greatest army the valley could send against them. The plain of Otumba is behind them. The survivors march east, dragging the wounded on makeshift litters, some tied to branches, some carried by their comrades. Others stumble forward with vacant eyes, too weak to speak. Horses collapse in the mud and are butchered for food. The smell of blood follows them on the road. Fear rides with them. Every ridge, every village might hide a new attack. Men glance over their shoulders at every sound, but the Mexica do not come. For the first time since leaving Tenochtitlan, no warband follows. Days later, the column reaches Tlaxcala. The people pour from the city to meet them. Cries of joy and grief echo together. Some women fall to their knees, clutching husbands and sons who returned. Others wail for the ones who did not. The survivors look like ghosts, gaunt, wounded, armor rusted, eyes hollow. Inside the council house, the Tlaxcalan leaders gather. Some voices are sharp with doubt. Why should we shelter them? They have brought us nothing but death. Others answer, if we turn from them now, the Mexica will crush us all. Cortés stands before them, mud still on his boots, his face drawn with exhaustion. Yes, we have suffered. Yes, we were defeated, he admits. But the Mexica are weakened too. If you stand with us, together we can break them. I promise you, we will return, and this time we will not fail. He does not name Alvarado directly, but he blames the massacre in Tenochtitlan on rash judgment, not on his leadership. The Tlaxcalans listen. They know their own losses, thousands dead, families destroyed, but still, they do not abandon the alliance. They open their homes. They bring maize, beans, and clean water. They send healers to bind wounds. The Spaniards eat until they faint, then sleep for days, lying on mats instead of stone. Bernal Diaz later recalls with gratitude, had it not been for Tlaxcala, none of us would have lived. They gave us life when all seemed lost. Alvarado, scarred and grim, looks back toward the west and mutters, "We ran from Tenochtitlan. Next time we return." Cortés walks among his men. Their faces are gaunt, their bodies thin, but their eyes burn with a new resolve. The war is not over. It has only begun again.